Can I get...
Hi, boss.
There he is.
Yeah, can hear you. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks. Very good.
You good?
So you're in the studio in Dubai, yeah?
Yeah, studio in Dubai. Yeah.
Wonderful.
We live in the sun, boss.
You can say that.
You're looking well, Roberto. Let me introduce myself.
Yeah, this is Chris.
Thank you very much, John.
Yeah, Chris. He's the boss of the studio. He's my,
That's not true, Roberto.
All right.
He's the boss. You're looking well.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Chris. Nice to meet you.
It's an absolute pleasure. It's wonderful to have you on the OB1, made possible by Bet Winner Podcast. You're looking well, Roberto. So many questions, so settle in. Okay. We'll try it and make this as quick as possible, but we're here to have a long and hopefully fruitful conversation. Start with you, Roberto. How are you? Where are you? Where are you dialing in from?
I live in Cobham, so London Cobham, near the training ground. I'm very well. Been traveling a little bit lately, but now I'm back here, and as I said, the weather's miserable. I'm enjoying my life. I'm really happy in my life, so I cannot complain.
What is your life consisting of right now, Roberto? I think last managerial job back in 2016. You've been out of the game for a bit. I did read, though, have you taken on a technical advisor role with a South Korean club?
Yeah, I worked this year as a technical consultant with Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors. It's a top South Korean club, and although it's a very young club, they've been founded in '94, so they are celebrating 30 years next year. Okay. They've been very successful. They've won the Asian Champions League a couple of times, and they've won the domestic league many times, the FA Cup there many times. So a very successful club. And Ji-sung Park, the ex-Man United player, he's the sporting director there. And so he asked me along last year to just have a look at the structures and the processes they have there in terms of coaching and managing, but in general in the club as well. So it's been a very interesting and exciting journey for me to have this role and also learn about different cultures, different leagues, and I really enjoyed it. And that took a bit of time this year, and I'm also an ambassador for my old club Chelsea as well. So I do a bit of work in football, and then I have some other interests outside football that keep me busy too.
Winning has always been my driving force. Growing up, I dreamt of playing for the Nigerian national team. My passion led me there. The support and unity of players and Nigerian fans led us to the final. Together, we won the African Cup of Nations. A moment that will forever be carved in my heart. Join the winning team with Bet Winner.
John, Roberto's got a job as an ambassador for Chelsea Football Club. You need to tap that man up for a job as well.
I need to tap him for a job, don't I? No, he deserves it. I mean, to be the first manager to win the Champions League, in any club in London. I mean, you deserve it, boss. Really. I mean, with what you've done for the club. You've played for the club and you managed the club and you brought the club one of the biggest trophies that we ever wanted. So for me, you deserve everything you get from the club, really.
Yeah. I mean, I'm. Thank you very much for those nice words, Obi. I'm not the only one. I mean, there is a number of ex-players that function as ambassadors, as global ambassador, and I'm one of them. And it's a privilege for me, but I'm also very attached to the club ever since I signed for them. I was fortunate enough to play with some great players and then manage some great players, like the one that is sitting next to you there. So it's nice to have an association with the club.
Yeah, in 1996, the love affair begun, Roberto. It's a great career you had, and we'll maybe touch a little bit on your days at Lazio in just a few moments' time. But that move to Chelsea in 1996, I don't know if you know this, but you were a club record transfer at the time, about £4.9 million, which
Oh,
is
wow.
a huge sum of money.
Wow, that
Back
must
then.
back now that must what a lot, isn't it?
Doesn't buy Roberto's pinky these days, 4.9 million. But it was back then. How did that move come about?
That was pressure, Obi. It didn't last long, though. It didn't last long.
No.
No. Well, I was playing for Lazio on the national team, Italian national team, and Ruggeri took over as a player manager in that year, and we knew each other from Italy because we played against each other in Italy, and so he knew me, and he obviously followed Italian football, and I think he was kind of looking for a central midfield player, and so he approached me, and I spent 3 years in Lazio. I was very happy there, and but I thought it was time for me to change something, because after 3 years, I had sort of experienced the life in Italy and Lazio. Not that I was unhappy. I was very happy in Rome. But this challenge, this offer came, and this new challenge came about. And I looked at it as a professional challenge, but also as a personal challenge, because I had never been to London really. I didn't speak much of the language. So I thought it was a growth path for me as a person and as a professional. And Ken Bates was the chairman at the time, and Ruud made me feel very welcome, and he really wanted me. And when a manager wants you, Obi, you know exactly that it's the right move, isn't it? It makes life much easier, and he also gets the best out of you if you feel the confidence from the manager.
It's interesting there, John. Roberto talks about feeling the confidence from a manager.
Yeah.
He felt that with Ruud. And we're going to embarrass Roberto now. How much confidence did he give you? Because you can make a good case to say your best form came under Roberto.
Yeah. No, definitely. Obviously, when I think it was AVB who was there before, and I started the season with AVB, but for some reason, then my form kind of dipped, and then I was out of the team, and blah blah blah. And then he left the club. He got sacked, and obviously, Boss took over. And I think the first game was against Napoli, if I can remember. I think in the Champions League, and I was on the bench, and I didn't play that game. But then after that game, all of a sudden there was this sort of change, and and I remember we spoke about it. And then all of a sudden, I'm in the team, and we had a chance. Like, listen, I want you to be the guy. I want you to be my man, because you understand how to play this position. And then from there, obviously, I felt the confidence. I felt the relationship, the chemistry between me and the boss. And then the rest was history. I just felt so confident. I could express myself. I could play the way I want to play. But still have the sense of, I have to be the guy who sits there and make sure that, we're very compact and defensively very organized. But when it comes to freedom, you give me so much freedom to express myself. And I never felt that way. I always feel that way when I go to the national team. But I never felt that way every time I played for Chelsea. But you made me feel that sense of freedom and just go out there, express yourself, and make sure you do the right thing on the pitch as well. So yeah, that was really special to me.
Well, obviously, to coach a player like you is very easy. Because there wasn't much I could tell you about playing football because you had so much experience already then. But because we played in the same, I played in the same position as you, so I knew exactly what you go through in the game and what you felt. And
right.
The role that you played in our team is a little bit of an unsung hero role, isn't it? You have to do a lot of work that the fans or the critics in general don't really understand or appreciate. But me, because I played your same role or similar role, I knew exactly how important you were for the team, and I just wanted you to play as free as possible, because as a person, you as a person, you're a very unselfish person. So I had no doubt that you would give everything for the team, for your teammates. So, for the team, for the teammates. So it was very simple. I think my first game was in the FA Cup against Birmingham away, But our
Okay.
first
Yeah.
Champions League game,
Yeah.
it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. I remember
And
that.
then I think we had a game in the league, and then we played Napoli as well. But apart from the Napoli game, I think you played all the games.
I played all the games. I think that was a Napoli game. Yeah.
So can I ask then, boys, to eavesdrop a little bit, to come into this? You've referenced that Roberto sat you down. He said, listen, okay, you didn't start in the Napoli game, but you're my man. Do you recall that meeting, Roberto? Do you recall bringing John to one side?
Well, me and Obi had many meetings, you know.
Yeah.
We had many meetings.
We had many meetings.
We had a lot.
We can have like a 2-minute meeting on the beach, or 5-minute meeting somewhere. We have meetings all the time. We just have that chemistry whereby every time we saw each other on the training ground, we spoke to each other, like, how are you feeling? The boss always wanted to know how I was feeling. You know, what's happening? Are you okay? You're right. You know, you feel tired. You want to continue. I was like, you know, for me, that made me feel important. There's nothing, there was nothing in this world that makes you, as a player, when a manager shows an interest always in you, how you feeling, you okay? For me, you absolutely gave me that, really.
Yeah, we have many conversations, on the pitch, off the pitch, and also very constructive conversation in the sense that, as a manager, you're not always sure about everything. You have your ideas, but you don't have, and you have your ideas and your convictions as well. But you want to have the feedback from certain players, and Obi was one of them. That we had lots of conversation. I would ask him questions for his feedback, and he would give me his opinion, and I would take that in, and then think about it, and so on and so on. But he was a great player to manage, and his career. I mean, you look at his career and all the success he had, and the trophies that's won. And funny enough, I had one day I had a journalist asking me about, you and why you were so important and so on. And I said, well, you see, he's such an important player for the team because he gives the rhythm to the team. He's the engine that gives the rhythm to the team. If he plays 3, 4, 5 touches every time he receives the ball, the team doesn't know what to do. They get out of sync. So for him, the only really couple of indications I gave him to try and play, maximum 2 touches if possible. When possible, play 1, 2 touches because that would give the team a certain rhythm and also speed in the game. That was, but also if you think about it, Scott, look at Obi's career and history. He played under every manager. He was one of the first players on the team sheet, and that says something. That's why I said at the beginning of this podcast, I said that he's a bit of that position is a little bit of a position that people don't recognize or don't appreciate. Because obviously the ones that are in the highlights or get the big titles in the newspapers in the media, the strikers that probably score the goals, or maybe the goalkeepers if they have a particularly good game. But in that position, it's such an important position in the team. But the public, the fans and the media and the public opinion, they don't really see that.
Yeah. Even the charity game we played, the game, and obviously we were meant to play about 45 minutes, and then after the second half, the boss came to me. It's like, it took you 10 minutes to fucking get going. I was like, I'm just trying to get used to the game again.
I'm getting old now, Roberto.
And then after the first half, I thought, okay, I'm going to play 5 minutes. And then I wasn't coming off. And the boss kept making changes, and I'm still on the pitch. He shows that thing where he doesn't want me to come out of the game, whereby he thinks if you come out, the rhythm of the game is going to be broken down a little bit. And that's the way I kind of saw it. And for me, just those little things, I can see it. I know exactly, because I know him. I know exactly the way he's thinking. So for me, special season I had. Really.
It's a great compliment that you set the rhythm for that Chelsea side. And Roberto, I'll take you back a little bit. Doing my research, when we knew that you were coming on the podcast, it was kind of great for me to jog my own memory because Andre Villas-Boas came in that summer and you were his assistant. Now, forgive me if I'm wrong, Roberto. How did you and Andre Villas-Boas cross paths? Why did you become his assistant? Can you maybe take us back to that conversation?
He was looking for, he was an assistant manager with a history in Chelsea. And I was, before I joined as assistant manager, I had already experience as a manager. I was a manager at MK Dons and then I was almost 2 years at West Brom. So I already was a Premier League manager before that, before I took over Chelsea. Yeah. And so he called me up, I was out of work and he called me up and was very excited, obviously, to go back and work with AVB as well, because he had just come from Porto where he won, I think, every trophy in that season. It was an amazing upcoming young, exciting coach, and I wanted to learn, from somebody that was like that. And I had a great relationship. I still have a good relationship. We don't speak as much anymore, but we had a fantastic relationship. We clicked from the first meeting. We clicked, and we had the same idea about playing football and so on. And so, because of my history as well, and because of my experience I already had as a manager, he wanted me to join his team. And it was an easy decision to go back to Chelsea and work with him.
Of course, he was gone within 8 months, gone in the March.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've said you're really good friends with Andre Villas-Boas, Roberto. What now, what are we, some 10 years on, longer, in fact, 11 years on. When you look back on his tenure, you're part of his coaching staff. What went wrong for Andre? What maybe mistakes did he make that when you look back now, you think, that was maybe the wrong thing?
It was a very particular time at Chelsea. Not just that season, but it started probably a season or two before. It was a transitional period in Chelsea, because there were a lot of players that had been at the club for many, many years, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, 9 years. And they were coming towards the end of their career. Some had to be moved on. And it started already with Carlo Ancelotti when he was there. He started to move on some players and refresh the team a little bit, because it was a team that was built probably 2005, 2004, 2005, wasn't it? And the core of the team remained mostly the same for all those years. So it was a transition period, and I think I spoke to Carlo as well, to Ancelotti, about this, and he said, it's a transition period. It's time for some to move on because they don't have anything to give anymore, but also to bring new enthusiastic people and fresh legs to the team as well. So it was a very difficult team. It was a difficult time for Chelsea, and not just for AVB. It was for Ancelotti, for AVB, for me. It just took probably 2, 3, 4 years maybe for to build a new team.
It's interesting, John. Frank was honest with us on episode 2. He said he didn't see eye to eye with Andre Villas-Boas. Of all the managers he worked under, he was the one that he had a bit of a kind of lukewarm relationship with. What's your memories of AVB?
No. But I think the boss said it. I think the core of the team obviously started from 2005, and Mourinho obviously came to the club, and the core, that core remained from Peter Cech, JT, Lams, Didier. So that's the core. You see what I mean? And that's the core in the middle. But the crazy thing was that they haven't made up their mind yet that they want to leave. They still wanted to be at the club. They still wanted to be in London. They have families in London. They want to be in London. So for them, especially with AVB, obviously as a manager who was on the assistant manager, or who was like an analysis kind of guy for Mourinho, they know him really well. And then all of a sudden he's become the manager. Especially with Frank, I think their relationship was really, really not really good at all, because obviously Frank felt he wasn't playing enough, and AVB kind of wanted him to leave the club, but Frank doesn't want to leave the club. Exactly, he doesn't want to leave the club just yet. And that just started from there. But these guys, that's why they were the guys who, at the end of the day, they kind of like find a way to win, and that's just what it is. And sometimes you have to deal with that. And it just comes down to me to ask this question, boss. I remember when we won the Champions League. Obviously, we won the Champions League and we won the FA Cup, didn't we? With you, we won the double. There was this thing whereby we were thinking, obviously, we finished the season and we went on holidays. And for us, we had an amazing season. We had a fantastic season. But if you remember, it took the club quite a long time to say, here we go, because we knew, for us, we absolutely had an amazing season. We with you, and we thought that the decision was going to be made as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But it took the club quite a long time to get it over the line. I just wondered what that was, because I remember we calling each other on holidays, like, what's happening? Who's the manager?
What's going on?
You know what I mean? It took a long time before you got appointed as the permanent manager. So I just wondered, what was the process? How did that happen?
Well, I have to say, you went on holidays, but I went on holidays as well. So I needed a break too.
Yeah. So you were quite relaxed. You knew what was going to happen.
No, I didn't know it was going to happen. No, but I needed a holiday. I said to Cap, look, I'm going to go on holidays. It was planned long before all this happened. That I was going to go on holiday, and so I think I went on holidays a couple of weeks, and I came back, and then so the discussion started, and I wasn't in a hurry. They weren't in a hurry, and so it took a while, but I was quite relaxed. I just thought, if they want to keep me, that's fine. If they don't want to keep me, I think I'm sure I'll be okay too. So
yeah.
Then eventually, Roman invited me to have a chat and a discussion, a conversation, and I think from there, then he decided that he wanted to continue with me, and that was it. But there was nothing in particular. I think nobody was in a hurry. I went on holidays, and I was quite chilled. I was not in a hurry to sign anything.
I would imagine, Roberto, that's a quick conversation. If Roman Abramovich tells you he wants to keep you, you say, yes, Roman. Where do I sign? It was a quick conversation.
Yeah, well, Chelsea is a special club in my heart. It's a special club for me. It's not just one of the other, one of 20. It's a special club in my life. So it was an easy conversation, but for myself, not sure for Roman if it was, but if he had been any other club, maybe it would have been a little bit different. But because of that, I wanted to stay there. I wanted to be with the club, and I wanted to continue with the club. And also, there were obviously some changes in the summer, but I knew that all the good players were going to stay, and then we signed a couple of young players. In the summer we signed Eden Hazard, Oscar. They were all 20, 21. Aspilicueta, I signed Aspilicueta in the summer as well.
Yeah. Wow, that's some good players. I mean, nobody will remember that you brought these players to the club.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, Aspilicueta was amazing. I'm not sure many people knew of him, of Aspilicueta. Obviously, Eden had two good seasons in France, but he was still very young. He was only 20 when he joined us, I think. Just about turning 20. He was very, very young. And Oscar was in the under 20 in Brazil. So he was one of the top in the under 20 team in Brazil.
How much input, that actually leads on quite nicely to the next question. At a club like Chelsea, ran by a strong leader like Roman Abramovich, how much say then, Roberto, did you have in those transfers that summer? Were they given to you gift wrapped, or did you have some say in that recruitment that summer?
The ultimate decision obviously was always with Roman, but I think if you could make a good cause for a player, he would be on your side, So, I mean, Eden was an easy one because he was the best player in France. He was a young player, so that was an easy one. And also, our sport director at the time, Mikel, he liked him too, so that was an easy one. Aspilicueta, I made a good case for him, and it was easy as well. Oscar, it was more, I didn't know much about Oscar. It was from the recruitment side that he was put forward. and I think it was going to be more one for the future. But when I took him in, and I thought, oh, this guy's a good player. Not that I was surprised. Coming from Brazil,
Really good player, though.
So
Really good player.
Yeah, really good player. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good guy as well.
Yeah, really
But
good guy.
it
Lovely
was
guy.
combination.
Yeah.
It was a combination.
Yeah. I
He
remember.
was.
Yeah. I remember when he joined the club. Very quiet, shy boy. Always liked to be on his own. Didn't
Really?
speak much. Also the same with Eden. Obviously, I think we've spoken so much about Eden,
Yeah,
but
be careful.
about
Be careful, because Eden Hazard's called you to have a whinge about what you've been saying in the media about Eden Hazard, John. We can't say too much about Eden Hazard.
about the way he trains. I think we
Well,
said
if you
so much
remember-
about him, the way he trains.
Yeah.
And then he called me up the other day. He's like, you keep talking shit about me.
But if you
Yeah.
remember, because I was asked the question as well, about Eden, about his retirement, early retirement, and so on, and how he was. But when he joined, he was young, from France, and he wanted to impress. I mean, he was very good at the beginning, and the first couple of years. I mean, I obviously left after, but
Yeah.
at the beginning he was very good in training, and I think after he got a little bit accustomed to being a bit of a star player, and maybe didn't train as well as maybe he did at the beginning.
It's interesting that, Roberto, because, speaking with John and all of these Chelsea legends, I've got a real understanding of that culture in that dressing room. JT set the standards, Frank set the standards, and everyone else kind of followed in line. With you taking over as manager, you were assistant to AVB, you then take the top job. Managing those egos, managing those big players, what was your approach to that?
I think the fact that I was an ex-player, I think they respected the fact that I was an ex-player. I think the players respected that I was part of the Chelsea family and history, and also my managing approach to to speak to them and have a friendly relationship. I wasn't I wasn't a boss in that sense. I was more of a somebody that guided them to do certain things on the pitch, because they were so good, these guys, and I knew the qualities that they had, because I obviously had followed them for a long time, and I had been training with them for a while as well. So I knew the potential that they had, and I knew exactly how they felt. And so I tried to get the best out of them. I tried to make everybody inclusive, even the guys or the players that didn't play as much. As Obi was mentioned before, he was a bit in and out of the team. Frank as well was a bit in and out of the team that season. So there were a lot of players that were in and out, and they didn't have many certainties in that sense. And I tried to give them the confidence, but also make them understand that to be successful as a team, you need to have respect for everybody, not just the 11 players to start the game, but the ones on the bench, and most importantly, the ones that are not on the bench. I understand for a certain game. And I tried to give them this message, and I think that worked very well, because everybody felt really included in the team. Everybody felt important, and because we also, the schedule was on our side, because we had so many games. Because as we said before, we won the double, so we went to the final of the FA Cup, we went to the final of the Champions League, and we had the league as well. So there were so many games. So it's very important that everybody was on board, and everybody had opportunities to play.
I remember that, because the likes of Maluda or Kalu who went starting, or Michael Essien who went starting, you could feel that the togetherness was there. Nobody was really that bitter, or there was nothing there. You could feel the atmosphere was really balanced. It was such a good atmosphere, because we knew we were forging ahead towards the right direction. And again, like you said, I think it came from that friendly conversation, but again, very honest conversation you had with us as well. You knew exactly what you wanted, and you demanded that from us, and because you gave it to us, the message was passed across as a friendly way. We knew we had to do these things you needed us to do for us to be successful. We know what it meant to be successful, but you've just come across in that friendly way, and we bought into that, and I think the rest was just history, really.
Yeah. On that, Roberto, I mean, you come in, you're the assistant to AVB, you're now the main man, you're your own man. What was the biggest things that you changed?
Well, as I just mentioned that, I mean, to make everybody feel important, to make everybody understand that we have to pull all in the same direction, because the dressing was a little bit split. There were certain groups in the dressing room, but not just in that season. I think already before there were certain groups in the dressing room, and I tried to make them understand and tell them that it was important that we had the same mentality as a team. Every individual player has to put his individual quality to the service of the team. And most important is that even if a player doesn't play, doesn't mean that he's not as important as the other guy.
Yeah.
So I tried to make them feel that, but also within the team, they had to make themselves make that understand. And that's why it was also important to have these big characters in the team, because they sort of they had a rule or a guide within the team themselves. They ruled themselves within the dressing room. There were players like Peter Cech, Obi, JT, Frank Lampard, Didier. Those were players that could really boss or demand from the other players as well. The other players would listen to them. So that was very important.
I look at all the results that you guys had. Yeah. You came into that job in March, and I've actually jotted them down just so that I could remember these, Roberto. So you're 3-1 down from the first leg in the last 16 tie against Napoli. You're on the bench, John, so of course Chelsea score 4 when you're sat on the bench. Yeah. They won 4-1. You then don't look back after that game. No. You're in the starting 11. You've got the 1-0 win against Barcelona at the Bridge. Yeah. 5-1 Spurs in the FA Cup semi-final, for goodness sake. 2-2 Barcelona away, JT sent off, 2-0 down. We all know the rest is history. Fernando Torres scoring the equaliser. FA Cup win against Liverpool, Champions League win against Bayern Munich. Champions League final aside, Roberto, we will touch on that in a lot more detail. What for you felt like the biggest result? Champions League aside, what gives you the greatest pride today sitting here some 10 years on?
Oh gosh, probably a couple of games. You talking about the Chelsea time?
Yeah.
So a couple of games. I would say that the first game, which was vital for the rest of the season, which was the Napoli home game. There was an electric environment or atmosphere at the ground, and it was. I remember that night so vividly in my head as well. It's incredible. You could really feel it in the air. I think the semi-final against Spurs. that was a hell of a game.
Oh yeah, that was a game, wasn't it?
That was a hell of a game.
After as well, John.
Yeah, it was a massive night out that night. Yeah, massive night out. I mean, it's always a massive night out when you beat Spurs or you beat Arsenal. Yeah,
5-1 as well. I mean, semi-final of an FA Cup to win 5-1.
No, it was a great game. Like I said, I think after winning that Napoli game, I mean, the togetherness we felt after winning that game, the celebration in the dressing room, knowing that we getting back to who we are, the way we want to play. You can feel that the atmosphere is getting better, around the training ground, around the place, and we just carried on after that. And then to go out to go on to beat Spurs 5-1 for us, it was a massive result. And then we knew, the FA Cup is pretty much kind of done. You know,
against Liverpool in the final.
Exactly. Against Liverpool, because we know we've always been successful when it comes to the finals in Wembley. You know what I mean? So, and of course, we know, okay, we still have to work hard towards it. But, you know, the elephant in the room is the Champions League. We know we wanted to win the Champions League. It's a trophy that everybody wanted. In the club, the owner, the fans, everybody wanted to win that trophy. And so, but we just wanted to take each game as it comes at that point. Okay, the next game. Okay, what's the next game? And that's the way we just went. And then we went from strength to strength. And
and then I would say the two semi-final games against Barcelona, because it's never easy to play Barcelona. I guess it's never easy to play a team that is managed by Pep Guardiola. And at the time, it was Barcelona with Messi,
they were good
and so on. So they were incredibly good, and it was really almost impossible to beat them. And we managed actually to win at home, and then. Well, I don't know how we managed to do the draw in Barcelona. I mean, that was, I don't know, that's like a script for a movie, that is. But it was great. I remember the meeting before the home game. It was the first leg, so home game against Barcelona. And I was in the team meeting. I talked about like key players of the opposition. Well, it was one or two, sometimes three. So. And Barcelona, the key player was Lionel Messi, right? And so I put some stats up, goals and assists and so on. And he had scored, by then, 52 goals, I think, and 27 assists. And when I showed that to the team, the whole team started laughing at the team before the game, because they were just incredible numbers. They had scored something. They had scored like 100 goals by then already. They had scored 100 goals. And he contributed, 52 plus, 77 to 77 goals of the 100 goals, and everybody started laughing. So,
I remember that.
And then you have to tell them the game plan, Roberto, how to stop Messi.
Exactly.
What was the plan to stop Messi?
No, you cannot stop Messi. It has to be a team effort to play against them, and obviously we had to make sure that we have an eye on him, and we had to we doubled up on him. He played on the center left side of our center left, so we made sure that we had the players Obi obviously had to always look that he was on top of him when he was coming to his zone, and then we had I think it was Rami there as well to look out.
Rami was on the right.
I mean, you've said
I think seeing those stats as well. I remember that meeting, and then we all like sitting there like, oh my god. So, but what do you want us to go do out there right now with the stats that you're showing us? Is this the confidence that we need? What are we gonna do with that? But I think also seeing that as well, we thought, Messi has never been that successful when it comes to Chelsea.
No.
I think it only happened when we kind of like left. He came to the bridge and then he scored, and then I think it was after we all
struggled.
Yeah, he always struggled with Chelsea.
In England in general. Really struggled.
But
certainly against you guys at the bridge.
Yeah, I think it was towards when we all when we left, and then he came, he scored against us, and then he played against Spurs, scored. He started having success against English teams, but that game, the game was amazing. The atmosphere as well was amazing. But Napoli game, boss, I remember the atmosphere was absolutely, the stadium was jumping.
Yeah.
I've never seen
rocking.
the fans.
It was rocking.
Yeah, that excited about a game, the Napoli game. 3-1 down. The fans were absolutely on it. And I don't know how we managed to turn it was just special. It was special. Special night.
Yeah, no, it was just it was great, and I remember that so well.
The Barcelona result at the bridge, you come away with a 1-0.
Yeah,
you stop Barca under Pep Guardiola, the reigning European champions. Of course, they won it in 2011 against United. You stop them from scoring. You then head over to Spain with a game plan. What's the game plan, Roberto? To sit in, make life difficult. They score. Then JT is sent off and they score again. 43 minutes on the clock. I think it was Iniesta who made it 2-0. John Terry's in for an early bath. Be honest right now, Roberto. What's
Very
going
early
through
bath, mate.
an early bath? What's going through the mind at that point?
So first of all, I went to church in the morning. I mean,
He's not the sign of the cross, but before you answer that.
the game plan was to try and obviously, and it was the same as at Stamford Bridge. You know, you cannot stop them completely, so they will create chances as much as you try to stop them. But I also thought that we were going to have chances as well. So it was a question of, you know, can we take? We're going to have limited amount of chance because the percentage of possession Barcelona had at the time was something like between 70 and 80% in every game.
Yeah.
So
not just us, every game.
Yeah, every game. You know, I watched I don't know 10 games of Barcelona before we played them, and I watched opposition playing in different systems: 4-4-2, 4-5-1, 4-3-3. Low block, medium block, high block, whatever block, you know, you just think of. And Scott,
you still can stop them.
Exactly. I was looking for some options. And the end result was the same. They always used to win the game. Always. Every time. So the game was the same, you know. We knew we tried to stop as much as possible and then tried to have, I told the team, look, we might have 2-3 chances. We're probably not going to get more than that. So we need to make them count. We need to try and score a goal in those 2-3 chances that we get. But then obviously game like goes out of the window because everything happened, you know.
The game plan went out of the window. Straight away.
So 1 down, and then I think, okay, well, it can happen 1 down against Barca. The new camp, it can happen. Then I think Gary Cahill got injured as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
He got injured.
He got injured, yeah.
He got injured, so we had to make that change. And then JT got sent out, and I think, oh my God. What are we going to do?
What's happening here?
So what are we going to do now? So I thought, my God, so I had to reshuffle the whole back four.
Yeah.
So basically, Bosingwa came and played. He started as right back. He came as centre back.
Centre back, yeah.
And then Rami went as right back.
Yeah.
Right back. So we had a completely unexperienced back four in the sense that they had never played together. They were out of position. And so it was just a question of, okay, how long can we hold on? And so then they scored the second goal, and I think, okay, 2-0, let's try to go into half time. And then suddenly we score a goal. We score magnificent. I mean, I think Rami scored one of the goals in his career.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It was like a pass from Lambs.
From Lambs, yeah.
Reverse pass from Lambs. Yeah. And Rami chips the goalkeeper from outside the box. I mean, Rami.
Where's that come from?
Where's that come from? We didn't know. We didn't know
you have that in the locker.
Yeah. So in my head, I had, I started. It was just before half time. So in my head, I started to think what to do at half time. Then he scores the goal. So we go in at half time with 2-1. I'm thinking, oh, okay, so 2-1. I mean, we're in the final right now.
Yep, we've got a chance.
2-1.
Yeah.
So then I let the players settle down in the half time, and then I said to them, I said, guys. I said, I actually asked him because I said, do you know who's in the final right now? And so, they were obviously, all busy with the things going on. We're in the final right now, guys. We are in the final. So we need another 45 minutes where you just give your life, just, we made some adjustment, we had to put Didier, when we were now in possession, we put Didier on the left because there was, the right back.
Dani Alves.
Dani Alves. He was pushing a lot on the right side. So out of possession, put Didier there, and then in possession, we needed him up front because we needed to have obviously an outlet up front. I said, look, let's just keep it tight, try and hang on as long as possible, and so we managed to do that. Obviously, Peter Cech saved the penalty as well, and.
Yeah, that was very long, boss. It was very, very long to hold on. I mean,
Are you telling me? It's twice as long for me on the bench than it was for you on the pitch.
it was so long. I mean, being on that pitch and just getting the pressure, it was a barrage and barrage of pressure. They were relentless.
Yeah.
They were just pushing and pushing and pushing. It was like two boxes and the guy's not giving you a rest. He was just on you. They were just relentless, pushing and pushing and pushing. You can feel the tension, the way they were attacking us. And we were just there, just hanging on and hanging on and hanging on. Yeah. I mean, and
I remember it. Obviously, I remember it, watching it. I didn't live it like you boys, but it was interesting because as the game wore on, the later the game got, you felt Barca, the tension started to take hold. I just remember they were shuffling the ball left to right with very little penetration.
Yeah.
It was almost like you won the physical war.
Yeah.
It was like, come on then, bring it on. But when they came to face up, there was nothing. They would pass inside and it would go out the other side. Come back out to the left, back out to the right. It was almost like you won the mind games. The longer that second half wore on.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it was. All we were just doing was just sitting there and just trying to shuffle. Me and Frank, just doing exactly the same kind of thing we did in the final. And it's just, I've always said in the podcast, I think those two games is what has brought me and Frank, my relationship with him. We talk to each other today a bit more closer. We were never that close, but I think because looking back at those two games, it's like going to war. We went to war
together,
and we were suffering. We were suffering in those games, especially playing against Barcelona 10 men for such a long time. And I think they threw everything at us, but we weren't budging. And you could feel the frustration from the fans as well. The fans started whistling and everything. So they didn't know where to go. And then at the end of the day, it just happened that we managed to come away with a win.
And as that game's progressing, Roberto, what are you and Eddie saying to one another in the dugout?
Well, I was looking obviously at the clock, and the time was just passing, and they used to, Obi just said, they used to, there was wave after wave of them attacking us, and then every now and then I used to look at the clock, and the clock was ticking down, and suddenly, not suddenly, I always felt like confident. I knew we were not going to give up. I knew that all the time. We were never going to give up. So, and I'm thinking, you know what? It was 60 minutes, and I'm thinking, okay, well, we're actually not doing too bad. They're creating they will create chances. 11, it'll be 11 anyway. So, So then it was 70, 75, 79, 80. I think, I think we're going to do this, I think, we don't. No, at some point I felt really, really, really comfortable. I'm sitting with my daughter, and I'm thinking, you know what? I think we can do this, because the team looked really hungry, really solid, and they were fighting for each other. And they were, as Obi said, even though maybe Spelletri with Lamps wasn't as good, but you could see they were like brothers on the pitch. Not just them two, but everybody was like really holding tight to each other and being like a big family. And that was what I wanted from this group of players, because outside the pitch, off the pitch, everybody had their own thing and whatever, that's fine. But when you're on the pitch, when you're in the training ground, you need to be looking after each other. That's what I said at the beginning. Be respectful of each other and look out for each other.
And then the decision comes, you think to yourself, right, we need Fernando Torres, who, listen, by his own admission, if he was here, he didn't hit the heights that he certainly did at Liverpool. There was a 2-year spell where you could make a good case to say he was the best number 9 in world football. He had it tough at Chelsea. But take us back there, the decision to bring him on, what was the thinking, what was the conversations that were had between you and Fernando?
Well, obviously players were getting tired on the pitch, by running so much, and so I just thought, he would be, fresh legs, and we were in Spain, and he was a very good player, and I really liked him as well, and I thought he was going to do a good job, and I told him after the game he should have scored before then, because it would have been easier for everybody. But it wasn't much of a tactical change, because we didn't change much tactically. It was just a question of bringing a new player in with fresh legs and trying to hold on.
and you see him galloping clear, John.
Yeah.
Take us back there for you, because Gary Neville's commentary is famous. Gary Neville loses his voice like I do
lost his voice
on this pod. Exactly.
Instead of screaming like a woman.
He is, because Fernando's clear, for God's sake.
Yeah.
He rounds the keeper, he tucks it home. Where is your head in that moment? As you see him running down the pitch, are you thinking, holy shit, this is it?
Yeah, I just when I saw that, obviously, again, the whole action came from the barrage of attack from Barcelona. I think the ball got, rebound here and there, and then obviously Ashley just whacked it, and then the ball went there, and all of a sudden we're looking like, what's happening here? Who's there? And it's Fernando with the ball. We're thinking, and everybody was. I think the whole place. I think it was Busquets who decided, okay, I'm gonna chase him, but everybody else just stopped and looked like, hold on, what's happening? And then Fernando is just, you could see him going, and then the crazy thing was that he started the action, and then when he got into the action, he kind of slowed down.
Yeah.
And then everybody was like, it wasn't like a movie. We're like, okay, what's happening here? And then he started slowly, got closer to the keeper. We thought he was going to shoot, but then obviously decided to go around the keeper and slot it in. And after that, oh my God, the celebration. I saw you running down the touchline, boss, with your,
That's right. Yeah, I lost it. I mean, that was...
Yeah.
I can't remember what, but yeah, I mean, we were all surprised when we saw Fernando suddenly like running towards the goalkeeper 1v1. We thought, oh, what's happening here? Is this real? And then obviously, he scored the goal, but it was the end of the game, and we could have done with that goal before that. But it was great. It was a great finish. I think also it was deserved for the resilience that we showed, or the team showed, in that game as well. So it was deserved that we drew the game. So we never lost against them in two legs.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola's Barca. You see,
I think that's exactly what it was. What the boss just said there. I think the resilience, the togetherness that we showed in that game, the both legs, the fighting spirit, the togetherness we had. We were pulling each other. It doesn't matter who it was. We were all screaming at each other on the pitch. We were all trying to make sure we do the right thing. We knew, okay, of course, against Barcelona, we ain't going to have much of the ball, but it was about how do we keep the shape? How do we make sure if we get our chance, we take them? And that's what we did. We didn't have much chances, but when we got one or two, we took them. And then then it starts to count. How do we hang on? And we did that. We did that really well. The togetherness, the fighting spirit. It brought a lot of joy and togetherness, into the team. And that was, for me, that was really special. I must say that's really one of my most, my career at Chelsea. That period was really one of my most special period in my career, really, because apart from the winnings, it brought me closer to a lot of my colleagues, a lot of people that I made, that I keep in touch with today. And we still look back at that time and be like, okay, this was the time where we knew that we did something special together.
You get back into the dressing room. What's JT doing? Is he apologetic, or has the party started when you get into that dressing room with JT?
Fuck knew where he was. I didn't even see him.
I was going to ask you. I mean, I had to do some press. So media interview. So I can't remember. I don't know. I was going to ask you.
He was probably still wearing his shin pad and his jersey, boss, and his boots.
It was an incredible night. I mean, I remember it. I watched it, and I couldn't believe, having been down 2-0, 10 men, you come away with it from the Camp Nou with a draw, success, you're into the Champions League final. How quickly after that semi-final victory, Roberto, did your mind start turning to the final? Obviously, I know you've got league games, you had an FA Cup to win, but was the Champions League final on your mind every day from there on in?
No, not every day, because we took every game. Always the next game was our most important game, and we were still trying to qualify, I think, in the league for the Champions League. I think we were somewhere sixth or seventh. So we were still trying to get the points to qualify for the Champions League. So I put my mind to the final. I think we had a whole week, maybe before the last game. I think I knew that we didn't qualify for the Champions League, for the league. So I started thinking about the final. But then we had a whole week before the final in London where we could train and really get into all the details and for the final.
How was that week, John? Obviously, you had the defeat in Moscow.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was at the back of your mind. You're not thinking about that. You're thinking about winning this cup for the first time for Chelsea. That week leading into it.
I mean, the week was special. Knowing that we're back in the Champions League final, and for some reason there was this good atmosphere, around the training ground. That knowing that we're about to play against a special team as well. We know we've defeated Barcelona, and we're in the finals, and we're about to play against a really, really, really Bayern good team. And but for some reason there was just a really good feeling about the place that we think, okay, this is maybe our time. You know what I mean? And just leading up to that week, the atmosphere was good. The boss made sure that everybody was, on his game. We were training well. Training was good. We
it was
felt
good. It was a good week. There was a good environment, good atmosphere.
Yeah.
Training, as it should be. We reached the Champions League final. From my point of view, from my side, I had to figure out who was gonna play because we had 4 players missing.
David Luiz and Gary Cahill, injured.
Because of suspension. So Gary Cahill, so the 2 centre halves were injured. They got injured. I think David Luiz got injured in the FA Cup final. So and Gary in the Barcelona game. So I had 2 centre halves that were injured.
Yeah.
And then we had 4 players suspended: JT, Ivan,
Ramirez,
Rami, and there was a 4th one. Was
I think it was someone else. Yeah.
Florent Malouda wasn't fit. You had Malouda who wasn't fit either.
So I was trying to figure out who to play actually that week, and if the 2 guys were going to make it this time, because we didn't have any centre halves, because obviously
we didn't.
Ivanovic was suspended, JT was suspended, and the other 2 were injured. So they started training at the beginning of the week. Well, actually, David Luiz did, Gary did. So we were a little bit more confident about Gary Cahill making it for the final, and David Luiz was just touch and go until the kickoff, really. So we didn't know. But the atmosphere was good. Yeah, we had with good training session, tried some different tactical solutions on the pitch, and it was for us. It was sort of an away game in Munich. They were playing, obviously. We were playing Bayern in Munich. They were a very good team, as they always are. They're a good team every year. And then we managed to put a field together. The only good thing for me was that I didn't have to leave anybody out of the squad because I didn't have enough players. So everybody was involved. So that was great.
Everybody was involved, yeah.
I didn't have any difficult conversation anyway because everybody was involved. So it was easy from that point.
It was easy decision, yeah.
It was still, to be fair, it was still one heck of a decision to start Ryan Bertrand. He made his Chelsea debut in a Champions League final. How early or how late did you make that decision, Roberto?
Well, we tried some different solutions. We were obviously we were a little bit concerned on the left side, but we tried during the week. We tried, I think, different players there. We tried Ryan. We tried Fernando on the left side midfield, but it never really felt balanced for the team. And with Ryan, we had the best solution for the team, because he had a really good combination game with Ashley.
Ashley, yeah.
And so they would interchange each other. When Ashley was going forward, Ryan would sit in, and vice versa. We knew that Ryan wasn't obviously an offensive, left-sided attacking player, but we also knew we were sort of playing an away game in Munich against Bayern. So, but he gave the team the best balance. And so it was, from that point of view, for me, the team looked most balanced, and also I felt that with him, we had the best selection as a team. Maybe as an individual, maybe somebody else like Fernando would have been maybe individually a better player. But I think for the team, he was the right solution and the right players to pick. So it was late on. I mean, I can't remember exactly when I made the decision, but I don't know if it was Friday night. I think maybe Friday or Friday night. But during the week, we tried different things, and he was the guy that then started the game.
Now you've spoken, John. I've got to get to this team talk. The
night before
the Champions League. You've said it. Frank said it. Roberto, you're a genius. You're an absolute genius.
Yeah, the night before. I mean, we finished obviously the night before Champions League game. If you're playing away, you train if you train, you go to the away training stadium, and you train there. You have your evening training there, and then you come back to the hotel. Have dinner or have a meeting. It depends the way you want it. Either you have your meeting first and then dinner and then go to bed, or vice versa. So for us, I think we had dinner first and then the meeting.
Yeah, it was after dinner.
Yeah, and then we walked in, and then we thought it was gonna be the tactics on the board.
Tactical meeting.
Yeah, obviously the boss had a different idea.
And that was your idea, Roberto?
Well, it's sort of as again, it was making everybody involved, and we spend a lot of time as players and coaches. We spend a lot of time away from home, and from the beginning of this postcard, I always said, make everybody inclusive, and so the families are very important in our lives, and sometimes they have to make big sacrifices by listening to us when we come home because we're angry because we didn't play or because we lost or whatever. So, and they have a major part in our lives. So I thought it was important that, that they felt that it wasn't just us in this room, but also, the people at home or the people that are supporting us on a daily basis, they were behind us and they felt very proud about whatever was going to happen the day after.
Yeah. No. That was special. I could feel, in the room, the emotions because for me, it was my brother, and I God knows how they found him, and for the rest of us, it was our family, brothers, sisters, wherever they found everybody, and nobody knew anything about it, and then all of a sudden you see your family member on the massive screen, and just telling you how much this game means to you. Massive goosebumps were everywhere. The feelings. Some people were in tears. Some people were actually in tears crying. It was that feeling, and that just, we went to bed that night. We walked out of that room, and everybody was like, this is it. This is it. We have to win this trophy. This is it. There's no way we go back home to our family members and say we didn't win the trophy. We have to win it this time. And of course, this is a period where a lot of players is their last chance to win the Champions League, and we knew we had to do it then. And for me, that was a strong message. It was a strong, pretty much Champions League final team talk. It's pretty special.
And did you get the sense, Roberto, that your job was then done, that you didn't have to say much more after that?
No. But strangely enough, when the players came into the meeting, you could feel a bit of tension, because it's an important night before a big game, in their careers, in our careers. It's for a player or a manager, it's the highest achievement in club football, right?
Yeah.
So you could feel the tension that was there, and rightly so. And it was really strange because after the meeting, me and my staff, we were there, and I said, did you feel that as well? You could feel that somehow after the tension just left the room. It removed. It went away from the players, and they felt a little bit. That's how I felt it.
That's true. That
relief. They were somehow relieved to say, "Okay, yes, we are strong. We can do it."
Yeah. That's exactly what happened. We came out of that meeting much stronger and much confident than the way we went into the meeting, because of course we were all playing Bayern in the backyard, and we thought, this is, we're up against it here. But coming out of that meeting and seeing what we saw, we was like, okay, there is no going back here. There's no going back. We feel much stronger and much confident. Like the boss said, most of the tension kind of disappeared.
Oh, and then of course you go into the game and a little bit similar to Barcelona away in the Camp Nou. You're up against it. Bayern with Ribery and Robben with Cruz and Schweinsteiger. They were at you.
They were. The pressure, the pressure we had. Obviously, they were on top of their game back then. Ribery, Robben, Barnes, Schweinsteiger, Cruz, Lam. Mention them. They were all on top of their game, and we just knew that, okay, we just have to stay on the game. But I thought we played a lot better than people give us credit.
Yes.
When you look back at that game, we weren't just defensive, though. The way we were against Barcelona, we had our moments. We had a moment where we had control of the game, and they were running after the ball, chasing the ball around. But we knew that the more we're in the game, we will get our chances. And if we get our chance, we'll take them. But obviously, they got the goal, and then, the big man comes up with the big goal, as he usually does in the big games. He always have to take the credit, doesn't he, in the big games? Well,
he does, and we will get to the big man, but I want to just labour on you because you continually tell us it was your best game in a Chelsea shirt. I'm not going to allow you to say that. I'm going to ask Roberto. Roberto, critique this man's performance in that final for us. Just how good was John Obi?
No, he was massive again. He was in that central position there, and he kept the team together, and the shape as well. That we had to be very, very solid, but also we had to be responsible. That we kept the shape because they were playing very well, and the whole season they played very well, and so he played really well, and he kept everybody around himself. He was a real leader, and that's why I always say that people don't give him enough credit for that sort of role that he had, because he was a real leader in the middle of the pitch. Obviously, everybody talks about the goal that Didier scored, which was obviously vital for us, but he was so important for us, and I can't emphasize it enough, as a manager at the time. But again, when we conceded that goal against Bayern in the 72nd, I think, minute, I was very calm on the dog. I was like, this is not going to end like, it can't end like this.
Yeah. There was something there,
It was just, we are going to lose this game. At least I'm sure we're going to, and then obviously time goes by and it gets a little bit squeezing bum times, okay? And so then obviously, Didier comes out with a big header, and so we go into extra time.
And then he scores that, and genuinely, both of you here, when he makes it 1-1, is there a feeling, this is destiny?
Of course, we knew, okay, there's no way we're going to lose the game now. We will have to make sure we at least take it to penalty shooters. And that's exactly what we did. We took it to penalty shootouts, and of course, that's anyone's luck, isn't it, when it comes to penalty shooters? And for us, we were kind of so confident. Obviously, Big Pete is a brilliant goalkeeper, but we've never know. You never know about when it comes to penalty. He's not the best penalty, kind of keeper. He's a brilliant shot stopper, brilliant goalkeeper. And we didn't know what we were gonna get when it comes to penalty shootouts. But I mean, that's what big players are made of.
He saved the penalty during the game as well, didn't he?
Exactly. But that's what big players are made of. They come up with big performances, in these big games. And he showed it, things that he wasn't good at when it comes to penalty shootouts, to saving penalty, but he comes up, he finds a way to come up with a big performance. And that's what he did in that final. Credit to him.
You've said it, John, your best night in your footballing career. Roberto, you've played for Italy. You scored an FA Cup goal inside 42 seconds in 1997 to beat Middlesbrough. You scored the winner against Aston Villa in the 2000 FA Cup finals. You won the Cup Winners' Cup. Where did that European Cup as a manager rank in your footballing career, winning it?
As a manager, it's the highest achievement that you can get. So there isn't, as a club manager, obviously that's the highest achievement. So That's number one. As it's different when you're a player than when you're a manager. So when you're a player, you're part of a group and you feel much more involved and you feel that you can much more influence the result because you're on the pitch actually. You have to execute certain aspects of the tactical instruction that your manager gives. As a manager, you can guide the team, you can guide players and give them the information to then implement it on the pitch. But it's a different feeling, because as a player you can celebrate with 20 guys, 25 guys. As a manager, yes, you celebrate with the whole team, but you've got your team, the staff, all your assistant managers and the analysts that were very important as well. Everybody, and also it's different, as it is.
Come on then, John. Did Roberto stay up late that night? Was he partying with you all?
I think it was. I think it was. I mean, nobody slept that night. We didn't sleep. I mean, I think I stayed up till about, I don't know what time, 4, 5, whatever it is. And then we had to leave, obviously, in the morning. And I was in my room. I couldn't sleep. I was just lying down on my bed. I was like looking up in the ceiling. I was like, what have we done? We've won the Champions League. I didn't sleep.
That's amazing. And
yeah, I mean, we all got drunk. We all partied. We all enjoyed the night. And it carried on the next day. Everybody came out, with flying with red eyes. Everybody was like, nobody slept. But I mean, this is just how we felt because it was so special. It was so important for us that we had to win that Champions League back then. I remember we were there after winning it. And there was a little bit of a farewell to a couple of guys, kind of it's sort of but it shouldn't, because we were celebrating the Champions League. That's how we knew this was the last chance saloon for us to win it.
Did Roman celebrate with you guys? Was he out till 5, 6 a.m.?
No, he was at the hotel when we all came in. But then I think after a couple of hours, I didn't see him anymore. I think
he was there when we went back to the hotel. But I don't know what time he left. I mean, I didn't sleep a minute myself, but we had to leave early in the morning as well. We had to catch a flight early in the morning. So I just went back to my room and packed my stuff, and then we went to the airport. It was a great party, rooftop and the hotel in Munich. It was magnificent, And those experiences, I experienced some success as a player, winning trophies, and those are experiences with your teammates that they are lifelong memories that will always bond you together, even when you don't see each other for a certain period of time. But when you see those moments that you experience of, winning that, not just the win, but also the whole run up to the final and winning the trophy, you will see that those people that were involved with you in those moments, they will always stay in your memory and in your life at some point.
That's true.
I'll press you for a question, for an answer here, Roberto. Do you remember who the first person that called you to congratulate you was after winning the Champions League?
No, because I had my family and friends at the game. So I think, my mom wasn't there. So I think it was my mother that called me. She was the first person that called me. I think she called me after the game. So I answered her. But I had my friends, my family, my kids were there, and my father. I had most of the people at the game. But I think my mother called me after the game, and I spoke to her.
And that was the greatest night of your footballing career?
As a manager, yes. Yeah. As a manager.
But in football, you've said as a manager, but in football, looking at your playing and your managerial career, just your greatest night?
It's different, buddy. In football, when we won the first FA Cup with Chelsea back in '97, so there was the first trophy for the club after 26 years, I think.
26 years, yeah.
Right. So that was a big night. That was a big night for the club, and also I wasn't expecting to score, and so we won the game 2-0, and meant that we qualified for the Cup Winners' Cup for the next season. And that was a historical night for the club because it changed somehow the way that other people looked at our club and the way we felt. It gave us a lot of confidence that we could win trophies, and that started a successful era for the club.
Yeah, that was, of course, that predates, of course, when you joined, John.
Yeah.
I've got to ask you both both as being Chelsea men, a former teammate of yours, a good friend of yours, Roberto, Gianluca Vialli. Of course, God bless, no longer with us, Gianluca. What was he like? Give us an anecdote, give us a story that best, I guess, sums up Gianluca and what an incredible human he was.
Yeah, we arrived the same year, in 96, we arrived in London, at Chelsea. So we spent a lot of time together because we both arrived from Italy, and I was single at the time, and his partner was still living in Italy. So we spent a lot of time together. Went to the cinema, trying to learn English. Now went to the cinema in London, and we didn't understand much the movie. But we tried to do certain things to learn the language and integrate as quick as possible. And so we had a lovely time, great time, dinners, and then Zola joined us, and so we used to go and watch Italian football at his house, my house, or Gianfranco's house. Well, a funny thing was that he was a bit OCD. So when he used to go to his house, so he had a coffee table in his living room, and he had his magazines and his books and so on. So he used to wait for him to get ready. So he used to sit there, and we used to, on purpose, because we knew he was a little bit OCD, because we used to sit in the dressing room, So we used to change the position of certain magazines on the coffee table. So he used to come up, okay, guys, I'm ready, let's go. And he used to look around, and he knew something was not right. So then he looked at the table and like, you changed the position of the magazine. So we used to take the mickey out of him in that sense.
Oh yeah, no. Everything I've heard about it, I mean, obviously, I didn't meet him. I didn't know him that much. Everything I heard about him, it's amazing. Everybody, you talk about Luka, it's absolutely everybody talks so highly and how amazing he was as a person. And also as a football player. So for me, and I know you created that bond with him and Zola as well. And that's probably why I'm gonna ask, there's always this debate between the Chelsea fans. And obviously we asked JT as well, who does he think the greatest football player that's ever played for Chelsea? He said, according to him, Frank Lampard. But then when you ask the fans, there's always, there's Zola. I mean, the Zola kind of effect, with the fans. So I'm going to put you in the spot here.
I like it, John.
Put you in the spot.
Wait, do you remember that I was born and raised in Switzerland? Right? I'm gonna put my Swiss hat on and
very good, Roberto.
Okay, I'll take that.
On the fence is what he is.
Yeah.
And in terms of, I've got to ask, Roberto, because again, your career, and I appreciate we're kind of going back in time now. And I'll ask you this question as well, John. In terms of your craziest teammate, I know you played with Paul Gascoigne over in Lazio. And Gaza, I've heard so many stories. I've had the pleasure of interviewing Paul. The guy he's a lovable rogue is what he is. He's bonkers, but there's a lot of love and a lot of beauty to that man. Your best Paul Gascoigne story, Roberto, just how bonkers was he?
Well, I think everybody knows one or two stories about Gaza by now. Yeah, I mean, I had the fortune to train with him and play with him. He was a genius football-wise. He had obviously some issues, now we know that, some mental issues outside the pitch. And he used to joke around every day. So once I just arrived from Switzerland, arrived in Rome, I'm still green behind my ears, just arrived at this big club and as a nobody. And so after training, I go out to my car and I had a new car, and so my back tires are flat. It's a new car. It's not possible. And I was one of the last to leave, so there was no teammates left.
No way.
Yeah, so my tires were flat. So I'm thinking, oh, I'm gonna get home now. So I asked the key man, so he gave me a lift home, and he said, I don't think you have a puncture. I think I know what happened here. So, yeah, there's an English guy that joke. So he just deflated my tires.
No way, just like that.
Yeah. That was one of the nicer jokes that he did.
What you've called him a genius. He was a genius. A player he was. the craziest teammate that you've had, John? I know you've talked about Eden being a great or not a great trainer, but what a player. JT setting the standards. Who's the joker? Who's the crazy one?
Oh, Diego Costa.
Really?
Diego Costa. Crazy guy. He comes in the dressing room and he just messes about. On the pitch during training, he's fine. But after training, in the dressing room, he is absolutely crazy. He screams. He speaks no word of English. He's just speaking Brazilian, cursing and screaming and shouting and dancing and flipping everybody with a towel, up your butt and grabbing what he can grab. He can grab your private parts, everything. He was this crazy guy that you're thinking, what's happening here? But that's just the culture where he comes from in Brazil. They like that. But we're like, no. If you're saying this is your culture, Oscar is not like that. Ramirez is not like that. Willian is not like that. How come you're the only one who's like this from Brazil? So it's definitely not your culture. That's just who you are. But for me, no. Diego Costa, for me, definitely the most craziest guy. I mean, he goes in the treatment room. He's fighting with the physios. He's grabbing everything. He's proper fighting. Throw them on the floor. Punch. And you think, what's happening here? It's just how he is. But fantastic, amazing guy. Fantastic football as well. He did really well for the club as well.
Absolutely, he did. Roberto, you started this interview by saying that Chelsea is your club. I can't let you go without asking, that love affair, that affinity with the club will never end. But I've got to ask, John's referenced when the helicopter's in the sky, you know that the manager is gone at Chelsea. You got the contract, I think it was maybe 8 or 9 months later. For whatever reason, the decision was taken. Memories of that day, was it the helicopter? Did you know yourself, you're thinking, shit, Roman's coming, I'm out of a job, take us back there?
No, I was dismissed. It was after the Champions League game against Juventus.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Turin. So I was dismissed in the night when we got back to Cobham. But it was the CEO that came and told me that. But it was sort of in the air because we didn't qualify for the knockout stage, even though we got 10 points. Normally with 10 points you qualify, but we had a really strong group there, and with Shakhtar Donetsk, Juventus, and they were on a high. They both went like 1 year unbeaten in the domestic league and also in Europe. So it was a difficult group, and really quite, but not quite well enough to qualify. And I think that was the straw that made, because in the league we started really well that year. I think we won 6-7 games. So and we were still like second or third. We were still like attached to the top. So it was the Champions League that probably made this.
And from the highs of the May winning the Champions League to then that moment. I mean, on the drive back to the house, are you obviously you're sad, you're disappointed, but are you bitter? I mean, the emotions that someone goes through having had the high just a few short months before to now the disappointment of this.
It's just a huge disappointment. That's what it is. It's a huge disappointment. But as a manager, we know that this is part of our life in managerial, managerial career, and so. I was very sad because I didn't want to leave, and I didn't want it to end like that. But it's football. That's life. That's life as a manager. There's nothing you can do about it. There's maybe 1 or 2 managers in the world that have never experienced that feeling, and by everybody else, all the top managers. Maybe Pep is probably one that's never been relieved in his career, but. Other than that, everybody else has experienced.
You're right. Even Sir Alex was sacked back in the start of his career. I think you're right. I think it's only Pep. Yeah. Pep wasn't sacked by Barca. He wasn't sacked by Bayern, and he certainly hasn't been sacked by Man City. All managers go through it. John, when that news came through, Roberto was gone, a sadness at the training ground.
Yeah, no, I remember we were coming back from the Champions League game. I remember I was sitting in the back of the bus. I remember you came and you spoke to.
I came to tell you, didn't I?
Yeah, you came to tell me. Yeah. I remember.
that's
Yeah, I remember. I was absolutely gutted. I was absolutely gutted because I know we're doing well in the league. Obviously, we weren't doing so well in Champions League, but we're still, we've just started. And from coming from the season we had, the season before that. We played a lot of games. We won the double, and we weren't just going to repeat the same. And we've started the season well. Okay, we weren't doing well in the Champions League, but like you said, with 10 points, normally you qualify with 10 points. But we had a very strong group back then, and it was just the patience that the owner didn't have.
And I was integrating the new guys as well. There was obviously these new guys.
Yeah, exactly.
There was Hazard, Oscar. Aspilicueta, Victor Moses as well, I think.
Victor, yeah.
Thomas Moses. There's a lot of young guys I was trying to integrate into the team as well. Yeah, Victor was one of my sons.
Yeah, Victor was one, yeah. So,
of course, you then have a spell at Schalke and Aston Villa. And I come back to the question I asked you at the start. Are the juices still flowing, Roberto? If a chairman picked up the phone and said, Roberto, I like you, I want you, would you get back into the dugout?
Yeah, I'm very happy, Scott. At the moment, I'm very happy. So when I took a bit of time out after Villa, it was just going to be a little bit of time, a year or so, maybe, to spend with my family. My kids were reaching a certain age, so I wanted to spend some of the time with them before they leave, the family home. And then 1 year became 2 became 3. I had offers, but I just then started to do different things in life and in football and enjoyed them. And now I'm very happy. But never say never in life. Who knows? Maybe one day I get that fire in my belly again to try and a new challenge. I like new challenges. I like to learn, and as I mentioned, the South Korea experience, that was really good. I really enjoyed that. And so I always like to have new challenges in life. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe. I'm still young enough.
Do you ever stick up the hood, Roberto? Do you ever make your way down to the bridge incognito and go and watch Chelsea today?
Yes, I do sometimes. I don't go every game, but I do. I think I went twice this season. Went to the first game against Liverpool. Home game, and then I went to see against who was it, against Aston Villa, I think it was. Yeah, I think so. I went 2 games, but I go every now and then. They treat me very well, And there's a lot of changes at the moment at the club. So, but,
there is. John's gone on record. We've spoken about it, John. You like Mauricio. You like what he's trying to do. It's going to take time. Do you like what he's trying to do at Chelsea? Are you enthused, Roberto, by where Chelsea are currently headed?
Yes, I like Maurizio. I think he's a very good manager. He makes players better. He knows how to coach the young. He actually likes probably to coach or manage younger players because he can mold them a little bit better. So it will take time. Chelsea is a big club, it depends how much patience everybody has with him, like he saw with the previous managers. But I'm sure that time given, the end result will be very good.
Yeah, you're confident.
Yeah. I'm confident. Well, I mean, I think we've kept the boss for so long. I think we better let him
get off.
Let him get off.
Roberto,
I do like Poch. I think Poch will get the club back. I think you can feel from the last game we've played, obviously from Spurs and now Man City, the way we've played against Man City. You can feel that a little bit of the confidence coming back, and the fans are also getting involved. The atmosphere against City was absolutely amazing. That's what we need. We need this kind of atmosphere because it's a very young team. So we need the support of the fans. And I think if they can get that, I mean, Sterling was on fire that day. Everybody was playing. Everybody played really well. If we can keep that performance, I think we'll do well, but I'm not sure they'll beat our team in 2012, will they? If we played against them,
No chance. No chance.
It's gonna take a lot to beat them.
yeah.
You guys wrote so many history pages of the club. You know, you're legends of the club. You are also great players. You achieved so much, and people, the fans don't forget that. That's why you saw it when we had that game in back.
Yes.
See, I mean, it was almost sold out the stadium.
Sold out, yeah.
You know, this is
amazing.
This shows the loyalty that they have towards you players.
Yeah, that was amazing.
That's amazing. Last one for me then, Roberto. I asked JT this, I asked Frank this, I've asked John. That Champions League winners medal, where is it in the house?
Well, mine is in the safe.
It's in the safe.
Safe, yeah.
Do you ever take it out?
No, not really. No.
Yeah.
But Didier made a ring for all of us, and that was a really nice gesture. He gave every player and staff a ring of.
Yeah.
What Didier did?
Yeah, have a ring. Yeah, the ring. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didier had one made for you all?
Yeah, I saw mine the other day. Actually, a few days ago. I was looking through the drawer where the Champions League medal was, and that's exactly where it was. You know, it was in this big little black thing that I put in. It's a kind of nice goal.
In the States, when you win the NBA or
the NBA final, something like that.
The big ring. It was sort of.
You need to show me that, is what you do.
Yeah,
but listen, Roberto, we have taken up far too much of your time. It's been a real pleasure. It's been an honour. It's the gaffer, for goodness sake, John.
That's the gaffer. That's the boss.
He calls me boss, but he should call me boss.
No, he's the boss. He's the boss.
He go back
You'll always
long
be boss.
time.
But you will always be the boss. And Roberto, I mean this sincerely. You will always be the man who delivered Chelsea Football Club their first European Cup. And that is something that you can be incredibly proud about.
Special.
Yeah, we should all be proud. You know, we were the first in the club, so we should all be proud. You know, everybody was involved. It was an amazing run and an amazing experience. And as I said, you know, when we see each other, it feels like we have a bond.
Well, listen, Roberto.
Thank you for inviting me. I'll be there.
Thank you.
Legend, top man,
Thank
Roberto.
you so much, boss. Thank you. Amazing. Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
Roberto Di Matteo, episode 5 of the podcast. What a lovely, lovely man he is, John. The gaffer, the boss.
Yeah, the gaffer, the boss. Yeah.
Great guy. Very reserved.
Yeah.
You can see very intelligent as well.
Yeah, it doesn't really speak much. Yeah.
Doesn't give much away.
Yeah, it doesn't give much.
Lovely
away.
guy though.
Yeah, good guy.
Really
amazing,
nice guy.
amazing guy. It takes a lot to get him to speak. But
that's you, John.
Yeah,
you made the call, and he got back to you and he said, "I'm happy to be on the pod."
Yeah, he said, "I'm happy. You know, I'm gonna do this. I think I've got this amazing relationship with him. I've kept it ever since then. I think when we had the charity game in London, he picked up the phone personally and called me and convinced me to come. And once he called for me, it was an easy decision. I was going.
Brilliant. Roberto Di Matteo, episode 5 of the OB1 podcast, made possible by BetWinner. Well done you again, John.
Winning has always been my driving force. Growing up, I dreamt of playing for the Nigerian national team. My passion led me there. The support and unity of players and Nigerian fans led us to the final. Together, we won the African Cup of Nations. A moment that will forever be carved in my heart. Join the winning team with BetWinner.